Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Retail Revisited seminar. My name is Janan. I'm from Socialites. Maybe if, just to make sure everyone can hear me, maybe if you could pop a hello in the chat. Hello, Sandy. Hi, Samantha. Okay, perfect. Everyone can hear me. That's fantastic. Oh, so many hellos. Great to have everyone here. I'm sorry that we can't chat. It would be great if I could actually hear your voices, but feel free to pop something in the message if you have a question as we go through. So what I'll just do is share my screen. Now, what I'll be talking to you guys today about is how to build a brand on social media. So we will get straight into it. So in this presentation, I'll be talking about how to build a brand organically, a strategy for running social media ads, and then also the future for social commerce. And then at the end, I'll have time to answer any questions that you pop in the chat as we go. So just a quick overview of who we are. So Socialites is a social media agency based in Auckland, and we recently, just this year, have started really focusing on SMBs, kind of as a result of the pandemic and a lot of small businesses needing to get online. So as part of the Socialites group, there is a team dedicated to SMBs, which I myself am on. And then we also have a team dedicated to influencer marketing. So the social club is part of our brand. And then we also have a team who work on really large scale clients as well. So at the end of this presentation, I'll talk more about specific packages that we do for small businesses. So starting off with building a community organically. So right back to basics now. Social media, it has what you may have heard before, an algorithm. So where a few years ago, when you began a business page and people started to follow you, everyone who followed your page would see your content. So this is not how social works anymore. It's very much algorithm based. So only about 1 to 5% of your followers will see the content that you're posting organically. So when I say organic, I mean there's no spend, that it's not advertising, it's just straight to your page without any spend behind it. So in order to increase the visibility of organic content, there's a few factors that go into play here. So how interested people are in your page is a determining factor in whether or not they will see your content. How well the post is performing. So if you've made a post and it's getting lots of comments and engagement, Facebook or Instagram will see that and think, okay, this post is actually quite interesting. We're going to show it to more people. The page's past performance. So how well have your posts been performing in the past? This is really important to remember for when it comes to posting regularly. Ideally on social media, you want to be posting quality over quantity, because if the quality is kind of not really, there's no real intention behind the post and maybe it's just posting for the sake of it. If people aren't engaging so much with your posts anymore, your viewers are going to drop off. So it's really important to ensure your posts are really quality, and we'll get more into how to create a content strategy in a few slides. The type of content, so videos are much more highly rewarded by social media platforms because they're so much more engaging than simply an image, or if there was no image at all. And lastly, recency. So how long ago was the post made? If it was made quite recently, then you're more likely to see it if you've jumped onto your page. If you have any questions about the algorithm, feel free to pop them in the chat as I go. So just some tips around building brand awareness. Say maybe you're starting out fresh on social media as a brand. Building your following from scratch can be quite hard, but once you get going, it gets easier and easier. I'm sure a lot of you have already built brands before, but some tips for if you're starting out fresh is running a competition. So a sort of quick win for getting a larger brand awareness or following is to run a competition where you're giving away something, and the entry mechanism is to share the post or recommend people comment on the post to tag someone. Facebook actually has a rule where you can't explicitly ask somebody to tag someone on the post, but what you could do is be a little bit sneaky where you say, tell us in the comments who you think would love this prize. And so, that's kind of asking them to tag without asking them, if that makes sense, in order to not break the rules of Facebook. So engaging with other brands in your industry. So when you're really starting out, it's good to jump on to your Instagram or Facebook and follow other similar pages in your industry and comment on their posts and kind of organically build some engagement that way. Collaborating with another brand, maybe you're collaborating for a giveaway or a special product, that kind of thing, because you're gaining exposure from their existing following as well. So that's really good. The idea over here is Ben and Jerry's collaborating with Nike. So just kind of an example of a really cool collaboration. And lastly is to really encourage brand advocacy, user-generated content, and reviews. So you may have some customers that absolutely love your products, and the goal with social media is to use your social platforms as social proof to show people how much other people love your products, because they don't know unless they can see it. So user-generated content, or UGC, is quite a common way to allow people to become aware of your brand. So you could create a competition where you're asking people to tag your brand. So maybe if somebody's purchased a product, maybe you send them an email and say, tag us on social media to be in the draw to win. So you've probably seen that before, and it's to encourage user-generated content. You're getting exposure to their following, and it's that social advocacy and social proof that your product is awesome. And that also plays into why influencer marketing is also really it's huge on social for brand exposure, because people want to know what other people think. It's much more sort of effective to hear the opinions of a customer or someone who's used the product than hear what the brand thinks of themselves, if that makes sense. So 84% of millennials say user-generated content from strangers has at least some influence on what they buy. So hearing what other people have to say. So it could be as simply asking for reviews. If maybe your followers don't want to post about the product, simply leaving a review, and then you can repurpose that review as content. So on the topic of creating content, this can often be a big challenge for small businesses. How do they know what to post? How do they plan it? Where do you even start? So basically what we recommend for all of our businesses that come to us, and if we are creating a strategy for a small business, this is something that we will lay out, is to identify your content pillars. So a content pillar is basically a subset of topics or themes that create the foundation for the content strategy. So to kind of give you a visual example here, say you had 4 key objectives. You wanted to build trust with your audience, you wanted to build engagement with them, you wanted to build sort of brand authority to show that you are the best candle maker or whatever it may be, and then of course to drive sales. So you could then create content that reflects each of those objectives. So one could be building brand awareness as well, but for building trust, it could be content about meeting the team or company history. So that's getting to know the people behind the brand, is allowing people to trust you and feel like they get to know you, that kind of thing. So the benefits of creating content pillars, it gives you a really great framework to brainstorm content, to come up with new, fresh ideas. It allows you to make sure that you're posting about a range of different topics rather than kind of the same thing every week. And it also allows you to test out what kind of content is working really well for your audience. So once you've got all these content ideas laid out, this is something that we work together with businesses to identify exactly what kind of content they would have, what their content pillars are. You would then go ahead and plot it on your calendar. So scheduling content on a content calendar is super important, and it saves you a lot of time. So what we like to do is sort of color code. So what pillar are you speaking to with this particular post? And then you can ensure that you're talking about a range of content ideas. With what a lot of businesses like to do is they like to post about their products and their sales, which of course is part of it's going to be part of your strategy, but it's really important to remember that people don't people don't follow your page to be advertised to or to be sold to. They want to understand, the people behind the brand and, the expertise that you have about the particular product that you have, rather than just hearing about the price and, a sale. So it's ideally this pillar is something that you don't post about as much, because on social media, it's about a journey of connecting to your audience so that the purchase is something that comes organically rather than asking them to make the purchase. So, so kind of so this green one is the sales one. This pillar might be something you speak to a little bit less than the really engaging, educational or inspirational content. Now, when it comes to creating the actual post itself, you don't have to take these tips, but it's a really good way to structure the post is to first capture attention, then give information about what is happening in the post, and then lastly, a clear call to action. I see a lot of posts where it's kind of, a cute picture without really any context, and it's just sort of posting for the sake of posting. What we want to do is make sure that every post has an intention that links back to an objective. So the giving information part is really key. So it's like, if you're posting a particular shot of a product, why is it that you're sharing it? And maybe someone has said something about the way the product works in a certain way or something like that. And with capturing attention as well, this could be asking a question or making a bold statement, not using capitals and kind of shouting. I would never recommend using caps lock sentences, because it can be very shouty, and also too many emojis is also a little bit off-putting. So ask a simple question, maybe 1 or 2 emojis to capture that attention. And then for call to action, it doesn't have to be click through to our website to check out this product. It could be, let us know in the comments what you think of XYZ, or encouraging people to comment is a really great practice on social, because it's encouraging that engagement, which I mentioned before is really good for the algorithm, and it's showing people that they want to engage with your business, and it's going to allow your post to be seen by more people. So lastly, when you are planning out all this amazing content and it's written all beautifully and you're getting great engagement, it's really important to be checking your insights. So on Instagram and Facebook, there is an insights tab, and I highly recommend you check this tab and see what kind of posts are working well, so that you can see, what you should be doing more or less of. And a lot of people ask me how often they should post, but it really depends on what your community is engaging with. Maybe they want to hear from you every 2 days. Maybe they only want to hear from you every week. So it completely depends on what your audience is responding with. Fantastic. So that was kind of our organic strategy. Next, we're going to talk about social media advertising. So I'm really passionate about this topic. I'll just have a look at these polls that we've put in here. Have you identified content pillars? Yes, no, cool. What social media channel are you most active on? Facebook and Instagram, yeah. This strategy really focuses on Facebook and Instagram, with a bit of Pinterest and TikTok a little bit later on as well. When I say TikTok, it often makes people go, ugh, scary, but it's definitely something that's up and coming, and it's not going to go away. So something to bear in mind when you're putting together your social media strategy. Alrighty, so social media advertising. I would say that as a business on social media, advertising is basically essential if you want to grow your audience, or if you want to sort of grow brand awareness and encourage sales. So there's so much competition on social media, and organic activity can only get you so far. So competitions and user-generated content, it's only going to get you as far as this much. So highly recommend running some kind of ads, because there's just so much activity and so much happening, and it ensures that you're reaching the right audience as well. So there's 2 types of advertising. There's simply boosting a post, which I'm sure many of you perhaps have experienced. Maybe we could do a poll about who's boosted a post before. That would be great. And then, other than boosting a post, there's also creating ads in Ads Manager. So Ads Manager is a little bit more advanced. It's a way to structure campaigns that are maybe running all the time in the background, and these ads don't always display on your page. They're often what we refer to as dark posts, so they're just displaying to the right audience at the right time. So as I talk about advertising, it's more aligned with this Ads Manager side of things, but the principles can also be applied to when you're boosting a post. So when you think about advertising on social media, there's three key fundamental things that you need to be really clear of before you put any money behind anything. So firstly, you want to have a really clear objective. What is it that you want out of this ad? Do you want people to comment on the post to create engagement? Do you want people to sign up to something? Do you want them to click through to your website? Do you want them to convert? We'll talk more about that in a second. Secondly is your audience. So you can, when you're setting up ads in Ads Manager, you can target different ad creative to different audiences. So identifying who your audiences are, and then lastly, what kind of ad creative is going to resonate with each audience to achieve your objective. So back to thinking about what our objective is. When we think about selling online, there's a journey that happens. So it takes about, on average, 7 touch points with a brand from not hearing about them to making a purchase. So when I say 7 touch points, I mean, I've jumped online and I see an ad from a business. Maybe I click on it, maybe I don't. That's a touch point. So maybe I click through the website and then I go off, and then maybe they remarket to me and I think, oh, I remember that brand. I was interested, but I didn't quite follow through. Maybe I'll click through again. On average, it takes 7 touch points. So with ads, it's important to be remarketing to the most engaged audience. So if we think about the journey of of your potential customers, we first want them to become aware of your brand. So that first touch point. Next is ensuring engagement with that audience. So getting them to click through to your website, getting them to maybe enter a competition, signing up to your newsletter, that kind of thing. Once we're really engaged with this audience, they're on board with us, they understand our brand, they're interested in what we're doing. The next step, of course, is to drive a conversion. Then once they're converted, that's not the end of the journey. We then want them to become advocates for us and also become repeat customers. Let's have a look at that poll. Who's boosted? Ads Manager, 6, fantastic. And not at all 4, okay, cool. So if we think about this journey from not hearing about you before to hearing about you to becoming interested, converting, and then advocating for you, we can kind of visualize it in what we call a marketing funnel. So maybe some of you have heard of a marketing funnel, and it's used in all areas of marketing. So we're starting off with awareness. We're starting off over to the left here, brand awareness. And this is our widest part of the puzzle, because we want to reach out to as many people as possible, because the people who become aware of your brand, of the people that then consider becoming a customer and actually convert, it's going to get smaller and smaller, because of course not everyone who sees your brand is going to become a customer. You need to make it broad so that it can narrow down to the right customers. So in terms of our objectives for advertising, you select an objective based on where in the customer journey somebody is. So for small businesses, or for large businesses, like really large global businesses, they will have ad campaigns running for each step of this funnel. They will have ads running for people to become aware of the brand, and then they'll have another campaign running of the people who maybe clicked through to the ad, or maybe people who watched a lot of a video. They will then serve them more of a consideration style ad. Of these people who are really engaged but they haven't quite converted, they'll serve a different type of ad that's really trying to focus on driving the conversion. And then of people who have purchased, maybe they'll serve a different ad again. So for small businesses, I highly recommend at least running a remarketing campaign. So maybe they've become aware of your brand somehow else. Maybe they've, a Google ad, maybe they've clicked through to your website, maybe they've seen you in person and they've gone to your website. I highly recommend running some kind of campaign that's remarketing to people who have been to your website at least. Then if you want to kind of level up a little bit more, I'd recommend running the remarketing campaign as well as a brand awareness campaign. So 2 campaigns, one is reaching brand new people and one is remarketing those engaged people. So I went on a little bit of a ramble there. When it comes to selecting your objective again, this is what it looks like in Facebook when you're setting up a Facebook ad campaign. And when I say Facebook ads, I mean Facebook and Instagram, because if you want to run ads on Instagram, you set this up in Facebook Ads Manager. So this is what we see, and we're selecting one of the 3. So we can kind of see it's either an awareness one, a consideration one, or a conversion campaign. So you may be thinking, well, I just want conversions. So I just want to run conversions to everyone. It's not the best approach, because an ad that is sort of optimized for a purchase is not going to really resonate with someone who's never heard of you before. So it's about building that relationship first and then showing them the product and the price, that kind of thing. Okay, so say you've identified what your objective is. Maybe you're just boosting a post, and when you boost a post, the objectives or the goals look a little bit different, but maybe you've decided you just want to push some traffic to your website. The next stage is to identify your audiences. So you may have more than one audience that you can identify as a customer of your products, and it's really good if you can split them out a little bit like this, because if you're able to make the messaging really resonate with a specific audience, it's much more likely to speak to them individually. So it could be single parents, it could be young professional, it could be anything, depending completely on what your product is. Now, within the advertising world of Facebook and Instagram, and Pinterest and TikTok as well, you've got the ability to create certain audiences. So you have audiences based on people's interests, where they're based, their age, demographics, what kind of work they do, if they're in a relationship, that kind of thing. So you can create a really solid audience based on those things. You can then, of course, create an audience based on data that you have. So this is really for that remarketing audience. So you can capture your website traffic, your database. So if people are subscribed to your email, of course, they're already engaged with you. So this audience might be good to serve your conversion ads to. People who follow your page, etc. And then you can also create what's called a lookalike audience. So this is essentially Facebook going out. You might create a lookalike audience of your website traffic. So this is Facebook going out and finding people who share similarities to this audience. So I've been talking about remarketing and serving ads to people who have visited your website, but how do we reach these people? And the key way to do this is through something called the Facebook Pixel. Some of you have maybe heard of it before. Which do you use most in Ads Manager? Just having a look at the polls there. So the Facebook Pixel is essentially a way of connecting your social media to your website. So it's a piece of code that Facebook has generated, and it's what we place on your website. So all it's doing is when I visit a website, if there's a pixel installed, a cookie or a string of code will be placed into my browser. So you've probably seen messages saying, we use cookies, do you accept, do you decline? So if you're accepting cookies, that means that the website is kind of adding a little tracker to your browser. It's nothing scary. They don't know any personal information about you. It's just they know that you've been to that website. So when you go back to social media and they have ads set up that are set up to retarget website visitors, you'll then see an ad from that website. So if you've ever been to a website and then you see ads for them immediately after and you're like, what the hell, how do they know that I was looking at their website? It's because of the Facebook Pixel, and it's super easy to set up, and I highly recommend it if you don't already have it set up. Fantastic. So we've talked about objectives, we've talked about audiences. The next step is the ad creative itself, which is super important. So say you've got, say you want to first off create some brand awareness for the product. It's serving people who've maybe not heard of you as much or haven't heard of you before. what we want to first engage people with is more emotional content rather than sort of sales-focused rational content. So when I say emotional, I mean it's understanding the why behind your brand, it's connecting people with your brand on an emotional level. It's, do you support some kind of meaningful cause? Is there like a lifestyle aspiration that your product can give people an insight to? This is the type of ad creative that you want to be serving at the sort of top of funnel or the beginning of the user journey. And then once people are really engaged, they're visiting your website a lot, they're a warm lead, we can then serve a conversion ad that is more, what is this product? How much does it cost? The rational side of things, how convenient is it? How much do you need it? That kind of thing. So an example of what an awareness ad might look like compared to a conversion ad. So for awareness, we've got an example here of a business that's really giving people an insight into the natural ingredients that their product uses, but it's more talking about the benefits of the natural ingredients rather than talking about their product straight away. Then of people who maybe click through to the website, these are two different brands, but they're just examples. They might be retargeted with an ad that is more, these are our products. Have a look at, if you're interested in a certain product. So once you've had a go at running some ads, maybe it's just boosting a post as well. Any advertising is better than nothing. So, when you're boosting a post, selecting the right, the objective that suits and creating a really great audience and having ad creative that really speaks to that audience. Once you've run any advertising, it's super important to make sure that you are seeing the results and seeing what kind of metrics you are getting as a result, because you could run some ads that you think are really great, but maybe they're not getting a great click-through rate. So these are some examples of metrics that we would be measuring for ads. So you may have seen things like reach and clicks, which are great to keep track of, but I would say that click-through rates are a lot more valuable in terms of a metric to follow, because the amount of people that you're reaching doesn't really reflect, if people were engaged with the ad. So the click-through rate is the rate at which someone's clicking through. So it's basically of the amount that have seen the ad, how many people are clicking. And we want to see about 2 to 5% of people clicking through from the ad. And if it's any lower than 2%, then that means that our ads might not be as engaging, or maybe the ad creative needs to be switched up. Maybe the audiences need to be tweaked a little bit. The cost per click as well is really good to keep an eye on. So if your cost per click is sort of more than 50 cents or getting towards $1, that's quite expensive. So you might need to be broadening your audience. Maybe there's not enough people to be advertising to. And yeah, so when you're running ads in Ads Manager, there's a lot of metrics that you have access to, but I would say these are the key ones. You may also want to see things like, if it's a video, you can see exactly how long people are watching the video for, people who reach 50%, people who reach 95%, that kind of thing. And also conversions. So I haven't really spoken much about conversions, but if we just jump back into our objectives again, this conversion objective over here, what this means is it's going to optimize your campaign for a specific conversion. So a conversion event is essentially an action that has been and a desired action that's been taken on your website, probably a sale. So the way that Facebook is able to optimize for a specific action like a sale is through the pixel, setting up specific event actions like clicking on a certain button or reaching a certain page. Where was I going with that? So basically, when you're running a conversion campaign, you can measure exactly how many conversions were a result of that campaign. So it's perfect for seeing how many sales the ad actually resulted in. Fab. So kind of to sum up paid advertising, we want to connect with audiences depending on their place in the user journey, as well as, ensuring that they've got the right interests and, speaking to different audiences with certain ads that speak to certain audience types. And we are able to retarget people who are really highly engaged with our product. And we can also gain really valuable insights to our audiences. Our last step of this presentation is more talking specifically about social commerce. So the pandemic has accelerated digital shopping by roughly 5 years, which is crazy, but it's a really exciting time to be online. So in terms of what social media has to offer, there's what we call social selling and social commerce. So social selling is essentially any activity that you're doing on your social media profiles that is driving traffic to your website where the conversion takes place. Social commerce is something that social media platforms are really gearing towards, and this is where the purchase takes place on the platform itself. You're not navigated off of Facebook or Instagram. People are purchasing on Facebook to purchase your product. So it's not so much something that we are seeing in New Zealand right now, but in places like the States or other overseas locations, people are able to purchase on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. Of course, it will come, but it's not here just yet. So essentially, when it comes to products on social, these are our key platforms that we want to be either on or taking part in, or at least aware of. So for Facebook and Instagram, you may already be aware that you can set up shops. So you can link your products. Say you're with Shopify, it's super easy if you're with Shopify because it's a really simple kind of connection between Facebook and Shopify as an e-commerce platform. Your products are then synced to Facebook and Instagram. So you've got a catalog ready for you to display your products. So you may have seen on Instagram or Facebook that there is a shop tab with products and you can click through to the website. So that's something that's already happened and launched in 2022. And you can, of those product catalogs, you can create catalog ads. So similar to that one that I showed you before, this is a text catalog and they've pulled it through into an ad really easily. So Facebook and Instagram. Pinterest is also a platform where you can sync your product feed. So I would highly recommend having a look at Pinterest if your brand suits it. Pinterest is very much a discovery platform for sort of crafty products and is definitely an up-and-coming platform, I would say, something to really keep your eye on and have a look at if you haven't already. So similar to Facebook and Instagram, there is in-app purchasing, but not in New Zealand right now. And TikTok. So TikTok doesn't have at the moment anything similar to, you know, a product feed like the other three have, but it's definitely dabbling in this space. So recently there was a shoppable live stream that Walmart had with TikTok. So it was kind of a test to see if people engaged with something like this, and it was very successful. So what I mean by a shoppable live stream is basically, you know, like going live and then, you know, maybe an influencer was trying on different things, and as the product came onto the screen, there was a little pop-up with the product where people could click through to purchase. So it went very well, and so this is an indication that this is something that's going to happen in the future for smaller businesses to use. So on the topic of what's coming up in the future for social commerce, as I mentioned before, shoppable live streams for TikTok. Now, ratings and reviews. So with reference to Facebook and Instagram shops, currently we don't have reviews and things on the product itself, but this is something that we think will be coming. So Facebook has said that it will be coming. So people being able to go into the product on Facebook and upload their photo of, you know, the product that they received and give their review within the app. So kind of social platforms are doing everything they can to keep people on their platforms rather than going off to someone's website. Special offers and promotions automatically being targeted to selected shoppers, loyalty programs connected to your Facebook account, visual search functionality for shoppers to find similar products. So say you've got a photo on your phone, in the future, you'll be able to use that photo, upload it to Facebook, and they can search for products that look similar for you within Facebook's product universe. Assisted tagging using AI. So this is more for when you have a shop and you are uploading your products, you can easily tag them using, Facebook's artificial intelligence. And shop attainment or gamification. So this is where platforms are creating games where you can play the game in order to unlock a deal to purchase the product. So kind of gamifying e-commerce. And a very exciting one is augmented reality. So this has already been trialed with large brands like L'Oreal. So it's basically being able to use augmented reality to try on a product or to see what the product looks like in a real life setting. So we can see this example here of trying on a lipstick, for example. So this kind of thing is what will be available to small businesses in the future. So it's really good to stay on top of what is happening and how your business could take advantage of these really awesome tools when they come available. So it's funny not having anyone be able to talk to me. I feel like I've just been talking to myself this whole time. But I hope you found this useful. I've seen your comments, so I know that there's still people there, so that's great. So after learning all of this information, I'm sorry to kind of whiz through it all. How can we help you? So at Socialites, we offer a few different packages for small businesses. It could simply be one-on-one consultations. So I know a lot of businesses, they want to take charge of their own advertising. They want to learn how to do it all. And so we're here to help people upskill with all the tools they need to set up an ad campaign, set up your audiences, set up your pixel. It could be running your ads for you. So that's something we offer for small businesses. And we've also got a supercharge program, which is basically we work with you to create a strategy. So a really robust document with like identifying your content pillars and content ideas and how to plan out basically your social media platforms. And then you get 2 advisory sessions after that as well to help you implement that strategy. So that's what we offer. Now it's time for a Q&A. So what I might just do is scroll to the top of our chat and see what questions have come through. Maybe I'll just read it out. So can we have a copy of the slides after this? I will email everyone the slides so that you can respond to me directly if you have any questions. Our ad account is restricted and we can't recover it. So if your ad account is restricted, what you need to do is contact Facebook. So it can, depending on if it's your personal ad account or your business ad account. If it's your personal ad account that's been restricted, usually all you need to do is set up 2-factor authentication and they usually re-enable it. But if it's your business ad account, it can be a bit of a lengthy process to just be communicating with Facebook through their live chat function. So what can be done for brands that are blocked for advertising? So yeah, as I mentioned, I think I just, anyway. So for brands that have been disabled, it's basically litigation with Facebook. It can, so for people that haven't advertised before, Facebook they basically screen all of the copy that has been put into the post. So if your post includes words that may trigger their moderation system, this particular person has advertised for hemp seed oil, so that may have somehow triggered their system and it's blocked them now. So something that they think might be illegal. They'll basically give you a tool to re-enable your account or communicate with Facebook to get it up again. How can I get training? So if you're interested in training, I will be sending you an email, so you can just respond to my email letting me know. So maybe I'll also just pop a link to our website. Yeah, well, when I email you, I'll send you a link to our website with more information about working with us. Is Socialites partnered with RBP? We are. So I will answer this one. So Regional Business Partners has recently announced funding for small businesses to sort of upskill digitally, and this is something we've been working with regional business partners since last year. That's actually how our SMB arm of the business grew, was because of this need for regional business partners for us to support small businesses through things like training programs. So we are a regional business partner, so we are partnered with them. So I recommend reaching out to your advisor and applying for the new grant that they have. I think it's like $3,000 towards advice and then $4,000 for implementation, something like that, and you can receive either all of it or some of it. So highly recommend applying for that, because then you might be able to work with us supplemented by RPP or fully funded. So yeah, that would be awesome. Does like and share build the awareness? So, you know, I'll just answer this one. So when you're posting and lots of people are liking and sharing your post, absolutely, that plays into the algorithm. So if your post is getting lots of shares, saves, likes, Facebook is going to see that and realize that people are enjoying the content, so they're going to show it to more people, absolutely. Yeah, so with this question, again, it's about litigation with Facebook directly. Yeah. Any TikTok tips? So with TikTok, it's, you know, it can be a little bit scary for people who, and you know, they're not on there a lot. So basically what TikTok is it's a platform for creators. So it's really centered around the people, the kind of influencers is what a term I use for people who have a large following. So in order for a brand to succeed on TikTok, they need to be partnering with an influencer or a creator to authentically be engaging with the product. So it's this is something that our team can help with as well. The Social Club, they really specialize in being able to use TikTok to your advantage when it comes to partnering with the right influencers. But yeah, it's about authentic engagement and also really fun video content. It's less of kind of like you're showing a photo of the product. It's more like how people are engaging with it. I hope that helped. Fab. Does the algorithm favor emoji? Does the algorithm favor emoji interaction on IG, or are the people just lazy? Yeah, people are just lazy. It doesn't like it. Yeah, people just, it's Instagram. So I guess a key difference between Instagram and Facebook is Instagram is less of like a discussion-based platform and more just kind of like sharing and, you know, visual content. And when people comment an emoji, it's basically just like a way to engage, but low effort. So on Facebook, you know, it's more about the in-depth commentary and discussions and replying to certain specific comments and things like that. So yeah. Fab. So if there's no further questions, I guess we will I'll wrap us up here. So again, you will be emailed all these slides. And if you have any further questions, feel free to reply to my email with them. Thank you so much, everyone. Fab. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye.